Welcome to Whitetail Rendezvous Podcast. This is Bruce Hutchin, host and executive producer. Each week you will hear tips, techniques, strategies, and personal stories from some of the best and funniest whitetail hunters in North America. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you do, tell a friend on social media. If not, tell me and I'll make it better. Thanks for listening, folks. Heading out to Utah, and we're going to talk to Chelsie Wilkey. Now, Chelsea's a good friend of mine, and she's also being sponsored these days by Vanguard and Skeleton Optics. And she's on the team of Real Camel Girls. What's all that mean? Well, Chelsie is one fine huntress. She's a lady of the outdoors, and she loves to hunt with her husband over there in central Utah. Fact is, recently, she went up in the mountains and hunted elk, didn't get one, but her husband sure got a nice mule deer buck with his muzzleloader. And she's going to go out this coming Saturday, and that would be October 22nd. And she's going to hunt up a fine mule deer for herself. Chelsie brings a lot to the game, a lot to the table, and you're going to enjoy our discussion about women in the outdoors with Chelsie Wilkey. Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous. This is your host, Bruce Hutchin, and we're heading out to Nephi, Utah. Now, wait a minute. What's that with that? It's not whitetail land, but it's Chelsie Wilkey's land, and she is sponsored by Vanguard and Skeleton Optics, as well as being on a pro staff for Real Camel Girl. Chelsie, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Nice to be back.
Hey, it is. And folks, it was just coincidence, but today on Facebook, Chelsie and I became friends a year ago. So, as we were talking about it, a year goes really fast because here we are again, and we're going to do a follow-up interview with Chelsie because she's really been busy in this past year, and I just wanted to touch base with her and see what was going on. And we're going to kick the show off and chatting about women in the outdoors. Chelsie, take that away.
So I kind of started this whole journey. I've hunted my whole life, but I started this whole journey about a year and a half ago with sharing my views about hunting and stuff on social media. I then applied for a team member position with Real Camel Girl, and we actually just celebrated our 1 year as team members, I think 2 weeks ago. So it's all kind of come really fast. And in that year, big things have happened. I've been to SHOT Show. I've met some amazing people and some amazing women that also share my same views. And to meet women that share the same passion as I do is kind of incredible because we're far and few between.
Let's talk about those passions. Where does your compass take you in the world of women in the outdoors?
So with that, I just like to kind of do my own thing and then share it with everybody else. I don't really ever have a game plan when I go out. Like this weekend, I don't really have a game plan. I'm just going to take my gun and see what happens and then share my struggles, my successes with everybody. And that way we get talking and we can learn from each other. And that is what it's kind of all about, is kind of learning from each other, because as women, we don't have the same equipment made for us as men and all that. So we kind of figure out how to make stuff work. And it's nice to talk with each other to kind of get an idea of how everybody else does it.
Let's go back to what you said earlier. Women who think the same way I do. Now, is that specifically in hunting or is that in women in the outdoors? Kind of help me understand what you mean by that.
So it's just kind of everything in general. They have the same wildlife conservation views. They love that they know where their food comes from. Their meat is fresh. They love the experience as well. It's not just about going out and harvesting an animal. It's about going out and enjoying it. They kind of have the same view that they feel at home when they're out kind of adventuring.
Anything else?
Just about that. I mean, it's just the same. They feel the same way in their heart as I do. And it's nice to meet other people that feel that same way.
Let's stay right there because I know Kirsty Pike and a year or so ago. She wrote a blog on her site about the bashing that women get. Now, I don't get bashed. Doesn't happen to me. No, do I put a lot of grips and grins on? Yeah, when I put something down, yeah, there they are. But why are women just completely, trying to rip each other apart? And they're still women, but they have completely opposite views, but they're mean. I mean, they're ugly. I mean, it's ugly.
It is ugly. And, women, like, if you post a picture of you with your animal that you've harvested, for some reason, people view it as so different than when a guy does it. And I mean, I've gotten death threats before just because I posted a picture of a spike that I harvested with a muzzleloader. It's just, I don't get it, but women are vicious. And when one person starts commenting, it's just like everybody flocks. All the anti people flock, and it's really hard. There was a post the other day. Jana Walker posted. She posted a picture of her teaching a kid about how to clean an animal, and the comments on it were horrible. Some of my team members on Real Camel Girl tagged us in it, and we kind of filtered in a few positive thoughts to kind of break it up, because it was just comment after comment of horrible comments about this little girl. She was like 10. I don't know how old she was, but she wasn't very old. And I'm like, guys, it's okay. It'll be okay. You do you and you worry about you, but she's learning something that will help her the rest of her life right now. And it's pretty amazing. But people are ruthless, and it's kind of scary.
Yeah, I think it really is. And while you were chatting there, I thought about the farm ladies, not that long ago, 50s, 60s, even into the 70s. They killed everything that they ate. I mean, if it was a farm animal, chicken's head comes off, the pig comes apart, the rabbits come apart, the cows come apart. If the husband brought home some game, well, he dressed it in the field, but still it was a family affair, and they kept the tallow. I mean, they used every single part of that, and it's just like Native American people. They used every single part of that animal, and nothing went to waste. And I
No.
can't. I'm trying to get my arms around why women are just so, be it me, uh, you know, ugly, you call it what you want, on for other women, doing what they've done for ages, literally decades and decades and decades. And it's just social media, I guess, has blown it up, and they go, "Oh, that's terrible." Well, excuse me, you know, don't eat meat. That's okay. If you want to be a vegetarian, go be a vegetarian. But the thing I don't understand, I guess it comes down, and you said it well, you be me and I'll be, you be you and I'll be me. And, that's the way it is. But at least respect me. You don't have to
Yep.
like what I do. You don't have to appreciate it, but at least respect me as a woman. That's my thought.
Yep.
Am I off base? Am I off base there?
No, not at all. And we've had people come to us all the time as a team with Real Camera Girl, wondering, like, how do you handle them? And the easiest way to handle it is just to delete the comment and block them. Don't feed their fire. Don't fuel them with anything else. Just delete the comment and block them. And then that way, there's one less comment on your feed that's hateful. And, if you don't keep fueling them, then they won't keep coming back.
Yeah, because I understand from one friend, a guy friend, he says it's really, really crazy with the vegans because they'll come in cloaked or whatever you want to call it. Say, oh, this person's really good. And then all of a sudden, something, a harvest photo, they're dressing, taking the game apart, and they'll just completely blow up. And it's just,
Yep.
it's a war, in my opinion, especially for ladies. It's really a war.
It is. It is. And it's just crazy how a simple photo can blow up and become something that it's not supposed to be. I mean, we're posting photos of our harvest because we're grateful for them. I mean, that's going to feed us throughout the winter, and these people think that we're murderers. I mean, I could go to the store and buy some beef, but is it going to taste as good as something that I put the hard work in for? Probably not, but it'll still taste good. And people just don't understand that. They don't understand that we work hard for this, and that the pictures aren't meant to be demeaning. They're meant to kind of show thanks that, yeah, look, my hard work finally paid off. My family won't starve this winter.
I think of Sam Ayers. He's the host of Living Country in the City. If you haven't been on his show, listen to his show and get in touch with him. He lives literally Hollywood and Vine, and he hunts. In fact, he went up to Montana. I don't think he got an elk, but he had a heck of a hunt. But needless to say, when he's out and he sets up concerts across the country. So I mean, he's with a lot of different people, and they kind of look at him and they say, "Oh, something about meat and stuff." He says, "Yeah, I'm the original. I'm probably the only guy that in town that gets his own organic meat." That's how he starts it, and he just
Yeah.
plays up the organic. It's organic. It's organic, and he just plays it up. They go, "Well, how do you do that?" "Well, I kill him." And then I mean, people deer in the headlights, the whole shot. They just go, "Okay." And they might need Sam, to do business for, take care of their
Yeah.
act or whatever. But it's really funny. And he's completely country in the city. And he says it's just a huge struggle. But he says his organic line works really good.
I
But
bet
think
it
about
did.
it. No, but think about it. I've been eating organically since 1966, actually before, grouse and squirrels and rabbits. So as a kid, 10 years old, I shot my first grouse. So I've been eating that way for a long time. I don't know if it's good for me, bad for me, but I've been eating organic and my freezer's almost empty. So I got to go whitetail hunting and put some more,
Yeah.
meat in the freezer. I mean, it isn't so much. I've got a couple of trophies, and I like to look at them because they're memorable. I mean, that's why I have
Yep.
trophies, because those are the memories. I'll pass it on to my grandkids, and they'll go, "Well, Gramps, now tell me about this deer." Then I relive it. It was 22 degrees below zero in Saskatchewan, 5 days in a row. This buck came through, and I drilled him, and I was no so happy in my life. It was cold. But see, I can tell that story. You're laughing and I'm laughing. We're having a good time because reliving, that memory.
Yep.
And that's good for me because I get football memories and I get all these memories for all my grandkids and my wife and all this thing. But life is that's that's what we got, especially when you get my age. We got all these colossally wonderful memories, and I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how my grandpa is. He'll take his gun one year, and the next year he'll just take his bullets. He's not in it to shoot anything. He's just there to have a good time with the family.
Well, yeah, and I think we all are. And eh, just to stay on this, listeners, everybody's heard this before, but I started hunting the same farm that I'm going to hunt in 2 weeks in 1966. That's
That's
remarkable.
awesome.
It
It
really is.
is.
And I'm staying, we have a bunkhouse that we built, and then my buddy just bought a lake house. So we'll be spending Thanksgiving with him at his lake house. And he's the guy that took me originally to his family farm over, 51 years ago.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is. And so if you listen to this and don't understand hunting, spend 51 years, on and off with the same guy on the same farm and chasing decades of offspring of the same buck you killed, 51 years ago. Think about
Yep.
that. Put your arms around that. I mean, I'm lucky. I'm blessed. Call it what you may. And I'll quit talking now because it's about Chelsea. Hey, tell me what sponsorship means. You got Vanguard and Skeleton Optics. What does that really mean?
So I use their stuff. I don't use anybody else's stuff. I just all inclusive with them. I actually just mounted my new Vanguard rifle scope on my 270 Winchester yesterday. Went and shot it with my grandpa. Got it all dialed in. Um, with the skeleton optics, they are like, I don't go anywhere without sunglasses. I have sunglasses everywhere. I wear contacts. I have to have sunglasses. So to find something that were excellent, that worked for me, and to actually be sponsored by them and be able to proudly wear them is great. People think of sponsorships as like you get paid. Not the case. you don't always have to get paid to like a product, you know? And I always get asked, how do you get into something like that? And it's just, if you find something you like, share it. And, you know, sometimes good things come out of it. And I just have been lucky enough and blessed enough to use products I love and to finally like have it kind of come together. And that's what I use.
Okay, specific promo, Vanguard. How do they get a hold of those? Where's their website? Same thing with Skeleton Optics. So give her a
So
promo.
it's Vanguard Outdoors. So it's Vanguard Outdoors. They're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So you can find them all there. They love you to share pictures of them in your Instagram stories. They absolutely love that. Same with Skeleton Optics. It's just Skeleton Optics on their webpage. They're also on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And they absolutely love you to share pictures as well. They want to see you using their products in a unique way. So if you go out and you're out fishing, snap a picture of you using their product because they absolutely love to see people enjoy their products.
And then while we're at it, Real Camel Girl, what do they do and how can people view them?
So Real Camel Girl is also on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. It's a community for women to share their experiences. We're in the works about talking about an exciting app feature with the Go Wild app. So you guys can share your stories and stuff through there. We're actually going to kind of transition into a community. So we'll still have brand champions, team members, all that to kind of help guide and be role models for you guys. But we want to get into hearing more about other women in the outdoors. We want to kind of connect with everybody. So basically, Real Camel Girl is just a way for everybody that enjoys, picking huckleberries to hunting elk. We can kind of join together and share our experiences. And it's a good, positive community. We're not in it to bash on anyone. There's enough of that. We just talked about that. There's enough of it out there. And that's what Real Camel Girl is about, is to have a positive environment, to know that you can go there and share your experiences and know you're not going to get backlash for it.
Thanks so much for that. So, ladies, there's a couple of Real Camel Girls. Check them out and see, if they have something for you. They probably do, but you make your own decision. But because it's really important for women in the outdoors to support other women in the outdoors. Whether, and I liked how Chelsea said it, you pick huckleberries or you're skinning out an elk. It doesn't really matter. You're women and you're enjoying the outdoors. So there's the common bond as far as I can see.
Yep. It's just, if you enjoy the outdoors, it's a place to be.
Well, let's talk about what's coming up on Saturday and, what you're going to do, why you're going to do it, and where you're going to do it.
So I have a rifle tag for Mule Deer, just in the Central Mountains unit, just a general season unit. We went and pulled our cameras on Sunday, and there wasn't a darn thing on them. So my game plan is just to wing.
I'm sorry.
It was bad. We left the cameras for 3 weeks through the muzzleloader hunt, and my hubby actually shot a pretty nice buck off of the unit that I'm going to go hunt on. He was the second biggest buck we've been watching. He presented himself twice and just kind of stood there and like, you better take him or else you're not going to see him again, So there's still dream buck out there, though. It's this big old 4x5 with a big, like, 4-inch kicker off of his right side. And
wow.
He's haunted us for like the last 3 years. And so I don't know if having nothing on our cameras is a good sign or a bad sign, but I'm just going to wing it and we're going to see what happens. We don't have a game plan.
Go ahead.
So we don't have a game plan, but we're just going to kind of go up and Friday and kind of see what is going on and see how many people are going to be there. But
now, are you hunting east of Nephi or west of Nephi?
So it's east of Nephi. So Nephi kind of splits. So the freeway, I-15 freeway, splits it into 2 different units. So there's the Central Mountains East and Central Mountains West units. And so I got a tag for the East unit this year.
And let people know Nephi is 100 miles south of Salt Lake City, or is it further?
It's about 120 miles south of Salt Lake City, if you want to be, exact. Basically, it's the dead center of the state. Pretty darn close to the dead center of the state. And basically, when you go east, it's mountains. When you go west, it's desert. So just depends on what you like to hunt.
Now,
You like
how high are you going to be hunting in those mountains?
We're not going to be actually too high. I think we're only going to be about like 7,000 feet, which when we hunt elk, we're at about 10,000 feet. So, I mean, it's a big difference, but it's supposed to snow on Friday. So
No
we're going
way.
to kind of stay a little lower. Yeah, it's supposed to
Oh,
snow on Friday.
because my daughter lives in Laguna Niguel. This doesn't have anything to do with anything, but it's been 90, 95 degrees in Orange County, for the last week. Just unbelievably hot. And to hear that, oh, snow's coming to the high country because we need some more snow. I mean, here, because Pike Peak, had some snow. Now it's all gone because we had 70-degree weather. But, we need that. The Midwest is waiting for the next cold front to come through. So, crank the bucks up. That's for
Yep.
sure. So, okay. So this is all DIY public land, correct?
Yep. DIY public land. Like I said, we set out tons of cameras, and there is one little 2-point on it, but I don't even think he's legal. His forks aren't even above his ears. So we're not even going to look at him. He doesn't even count as a buck. So there was, I think, 2 sets of does and fawns, and that was it on like 5 cameras.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah. And before that, before the hunt started, we had dream buck on our camera at least twice a week. So
same area.
I don't know where he's.
Well,
yeah,
you
same
had
area.
how many seasons? You had archery and muzzleloader season, right? Pardon me.
Yep. So we got archery and muzzleloader, and then muzzleloader was packed with people. We were surprised. I actually got lucky and got the opening morning off of work, and so we went out, and there was people everywhere, and there was just shots everywhere. And so we ended up being late. We slept in and got lucky and seen dream buck, and then the buck that my hubby harvested walking, like actually running away from people. So we actually got lucky and kind of cut down, and we didn't see dream buck again, but we did see the second biggest buck we've seen in there. And I'm like, you better take him or else we're not going to see him again. And so we're just kind of maybe going to go down there again. I don't know. Maybe I'll sleep in again. We'll see.
Now, talk about the terrain, 7,000 feet. So is it juniper or is it ponderosa pine, sagebrush?
It is. So it's just a big old field of sagebrush, and then there's little pockets of oak brush. The sagebrush, I mean, when you think sagebrush, you think like a little 2-foot brush, No, this is like 5-foot stuff that we're walking through. Like you can't see anybody. You can't see 2 feet in front of you. So you have to sit there and listen to hear if you hear anything that might indicate there's some deer. So we'll like walk a few hundred feet, listen. I'll kind of jump to see if I can see above it, to see if you can see them hopping through the brush. But I mean, once you get into the oak brush, you can kind of see a little bit better, which isn't much. But when you get into the gullies where the oak brush is at, then that's where that's your chance to actually see something. It's not as like dense and stuff.
Can you hunt ridges, or I get the flats where the sagebrush is, like I get that, but sometimes they go up the hills. And can you kind of take your glass and stuff and then just spend time, put your butt on the ground and see what's coming through?
Yeah, so we do. We actually have done that, but where the flat is so big that the nearest ridge is like 2 miles away. So we're looking at like a little dot. So, and that's why the deer down there is because the oak brush and the sagebrush are so thick that they are hard to get out of there. They just run right around you. So there is a access road that if you just catch the deer moving at the right time, you can see them start moving out of the oak brush to head for water. So we set up our cameras on the trail to water, and they must be now taking a different trail to water because they must smell us, or there's been too many people down in there. I don't know, but oh, sorry, that's my dog.
That's okay. Think about that, and I'm trying to, draw some parallels for the whitetail hunters that predominantly listen to my show. And so you mentioned water, you mentioned trail cameras on the trails, you mentioned just really bad visibility, visibility that really sucks. So how did you, let's go back to your husband's buck. How were you able to see both those bucks and he was able to get a shot?
So we were up on the access road. Like I said, we were late. We slept in like a good 30 minutes late. And, that morning light when it's like not light, but it's not dark. It's just that awkward lighting. It was just light enough that we were looking down into that flat from the access road. And we seen a glisten. So I got out my binoculars and you just seen their antlers turn and the glisten hit them just right. We just got lucky is all. And then we sat there and watched them walk through the sagebrush away from the people that were more south of them and just got lucky to see where they were going and hiding out. So we walked down in there and my husband actually did miss this buck once. So he missed it that day. And then we walked down in there to see if there was any blood. And I think that most of the deer in that area have been hanging out in that little gully because it's hard to get to. It's rough terrain to get to it. And it just smelled like deer. So when you get down into this gully, it kind of opens up. All the water runs down it, so it's not as heavily brushed. So you kind of get lucky and get some open spots where you can see the deer. And then you get lucky because next to this public land is actually a wild horse farm. So they actually take the wild horses off the West Desert and then they feed them on their property. So it is all just kind of open field. So if they do run down that fence line, you get lucky and get to see them there too. So it's just kind of knowing the area that you're in and getting to know it well. We just had been down there shed hunting and knew that there was open area. And so we went for it. And the next morning, it kind of all came together.
Well, I'm just trying to visualize kind of the terrain and again equate it to, you know, people. Sometimes we run the river bottom, and so you can't really see down there. I mean, the deer actually has to commit suicide, you know, to get him. He really does. He has to stop, or hang up right on the river's edge because he comes out of the grass and willows and tag alders, and then you can get a shot. But it's difficult. It's fun. There's a lot of deer down there. But you think
Yeah.
about that, and so whitetails aren't much different in this scenario than mule deer because they need food, they need shelter, and they need water. So if you can pull that apart, and you did it with your trail cameras and say, okay, they're coming through here, and here's a trail, blah blah blah, and you got cameras, and then once the shooting started or they started to get pressure, they're gonna go into the roughest, baddest, nastiest stuff and just hang out and move at night, nocturnal,
Pretty much.
like like a lot like our whitetails. That's for sure. And I'm not talking about high country mule deer, but we're talking 7,000 feet and oak brush and big sagebrush. Interesting.
Yep.
That's good
Yeah,
stuff.
it's interesting country.
Well, yeah. Now, how hot will it be on Saturday? Well, you said snow, so
Yep. So it's supposed to snow Friday night, which finally we get a hunt where it's going to snow the night before. The last time it snowed, I shot a pretty big buck. I shot a 2x4 on the opening morning of the rifle hunt. So I'm hoping it snows good. I'm fine with freezing for a couple hours if we see some movement. So it's supposed to be like 17 degrees that night up on the mountain, and then opening mornings like 20, 25. So it's going to be chilly.
Now, how many people do you expect to be out in the same area you're out?
Last year, there wasn't that many. We were actually surprised, but this year it's just the turnout. I think that people finally have realized that there's nice deer in there. Like I said, the muzzleloader hunt, there was camo on every ridge line, every little gully line, everything. You could see people moving everywhere. And so I think that I'm hoping that there's not as many orange pumpkins walking through, bright orange pumpkins walking through, but I'm just hoping that there's not enough. I mean, it'll be me, my husband, and my grandpa hunting for me this year. So I know there'll at least be 3 of us out there, but I'm hoping that's about it.
Now, is this do you camp out or do you just drive up from the house?
Usually we do camp. My grandpa kind of makes it this big old thing. Like later today, we're actually going to go get all the food for this camp. It's like his vacation. So it's kind of a big production. We have a lot of fun. Everybody comes up. But I also only live like 10 minutes away from from my unit as well. So if the weather is crappy, then we might just end up driving, but we'll see. I think that we'll end up camping. We'll
Sounds
camp
like
and freeze.
with Wisconsin, we're really spoiled because, literally from the bunkhouse, I can walk to the river is only quarter mile, maybe,
Yeah.
and I'm hunting. Actually, we've seen deer right out the back door of the bunkhouse. I mean, we've seen deer there. So, it doesn't take a lot of work to, hunt in Wisconsin, or it can take a tremendous amount of work. And when you say, okay, I'm going to get a mile from the road, or go, just like elk hunting, just get away from the pressure and go to where people won't go. And like it's not, you're going to see some decent bucks. You're going to see more deer than you will, closest to the road. That's pretty much it.
Yep.
Um, and it's kind of crazy, but you think about this, Chelsie, and just the hunting heritage, that you're building, that your grandfather has, and he's not even going to hunt. He's just going to make sure everybody's comfortable and well fed, and wait for you to come back and sit around and drink his coffee and listen to the
Yep.
stories and spin some stories that you've heard 100 times, but you still smile and say, that's my granddad. He
Yep.
was here. And that's tradition. That's the hunting
It
heritage,
is.
if you want it, and that's so important. Getting back full circle, women in the outdoors. They Once you get into the outdoors, ladies, then you can share these memories forever. Your grandchildren, your children, whatever, and you can share something that nobody else will have. That's the way I look at it.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree.
All right, have we covered everything? Hunting plan. Oh, one big thing. What's your one big thing about hunting? It could be your optics, it could be, scent control, it could be your boots, or it could be playing the wind. I don't know what it is. So what's your one big
So
thing?
my one big thing is to always take an extra pair of gloves because 9 times out of 10, I'll get walking through the brush and I will lose one glove every year. I am horrible at it. I've even tried getting the ones that like you can get the little bungee and hook it to your coat. I still lose them. So I always take an extra pair of gloves just because I know that I'm going to lose one. It never fails. I always lose a glove.
Now, are you wearing windstoppers, leather gloves, wool gloves? What do you like?
Um,
Your go
I
to
like,
glove.
I just I usually take a pair of my extra gloves is just those like little cheap cotton gloves. And then the gloves that I really like to use are the Under Armour liner gloves that you can, put stuff over top. They're light enough that I can still shoot a gun with them. And they've got good grip. So if it is raining, you're not going to slip or drop your gun. But I can layer over the top of them, which is really nice. But there's probably like one of every season's glove probably out in that sagebrush flat somewhere. I've never found them, but if somebody has, they've probably got a glove from every year of mine.
That's kind of funny. That's I'm just trying to think gloves. Usually I drop them out of my tree stand and don't get out of my tree stand, so I get another pair of gloves. Ergo, I carry two
Yeah.
pairs of gloves. And then when I drop out, climb down from the tree stand, get ready. It's dark, and I just walk away from them. I just
You hope they're there when you come back the next time.
Yeah, pretty much they're not. They never are, or whatever. But it's just funny. Well, this has been just a joy. We're about ready to wrap up the show. So why don't you take and give some more shout out, just reiterate your shout outs for your, sponsors and your team member, and we'll close the show.
Yeah, so I just like to say again, thanks to Vanguard and Skeleton Optics for making my adventures doable. And also a special thanks to Real Camel Girl. I wouldn't be anywhere without them and my awesome teammates. They are some pretty amazing girls. So just thanks again to you guys. And for all you lady listeners out there, if you're looking for a community of awesome women, go check out Real Camel Girl.
So, Chelsie, on behalf of thousands of listeners across North America, thank you we're going to have to do this a year from now. So put that on your calendar.
Okay, I will.
We'll check in with Chelsie, and I look forward to seeing, your grips and grins of your buck you're going to get on Saturday, or the family photo, at camp or around your kitchen table, however that works out.
Okay, sounds good.
Joining us today is Jason Hemlett. Now, Jason is the host of I Hunt podcast, and the special thing about Jason is he just started hunting about 5 years ago and got a crew together, and they just spin stories and listen to stories and talk about tips and techniques and what it takes to put mature whitetail on the ground. When I asked Jason about his one big thing, he said patience. And that has changed over the last 5 years. Patience, number one, in his first year was just get out there and sit in the stand all day. Like a lot of you, I've done that. And if it's the wrong stand on the wrong day, you have a nice all-day sit. And so Jason has tuned up his game, and he's taken some nice bucks there in Southwest Ohio. So I'm really looking forward to him to share some of his big buck tips on Whitetail Rendezvous.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.